Pro riders have recently started using time trial style helmets in road races, and you know what? I think it looks absolutely ridiculous and I hate it. But the question is it actually faster given that the position that you ride in on a road bike isn't exactly optimized for this style of helmet? Well, I'm in the wind tunnel at Met Helmets to find out for myself and speak to one of their engineers, Matteo Tenni, who has been designing bike helmets for almost 25 years. The concept of using aerodynamically optimized helmets is nothing new. The so-called aero road helmet has been a thing for a number of years now. In the case of Met helmets, that's the Manta, and it's regularly used by the likes of Tadej Pogacar. But other riders and other teams seem to be searching for even more gains, and many have been seen using time trial style helmets in road races. So I want to find out what kind of advantage, if any, there is to be had. So first up, I'm going to conduct some baseline testing using the road-focused helmet. So I've got the more vented Trenta and then the more aerodynamically focused Manta. Okay, Matteo, we should probably discuss some of the results that we've achieved so far. So when we're talking about the Trenta and the Manta, what have we got?
Yeah, we did a first round, so we compared some road helmets and some TT. So specifically for the road, we had the Trenta 3K carbon and the Manta MIPS. So, as we were expecting, the Manta, being an aero category, is doing slightly better than the Trenta. We are talking about 2.5 watts in the test. The speed was around 50 km per hour.
Yeah.
And just reasonable, considering the fact that we have a shaping that is more like a drop. So the main purpose of the Manta is to be aerodynamic, of course, with a few less ventilation, of course, because of the vents that are less in the number and located only in the front part. So there is no ventilation in the other part. And we have the 3K on the other hand, that is much more ventilated. And anyway, considering it's not exactly an aero product, is defending the position very well.
Yeah, it seems to perform pretty well. So the difference between the two was, what did you say,
2.5 roughly,
okay.
Yeah.
So
of course, it's just one run. We should typically repeat the test more times to make sure of the statistic is well aligned on those data. But it's anyway a meaningful result, even if it's one shot test, of course.
Okay, now for the real exciting part of the test. Can time trial style helmets really make a difference for me when I'm riding my gravel bike at gravel bike racing speeds? Now, the helmets that I'm going to be looking at today are the Tronco, which is a short-tailed design, which in theory should be more optimized for varying different riding and wind conditions because of that shorter tail. And then I'm also looking at the drone wide body too, with its longer tail and wider stance overall. Now, in theory, this should be the faster helmet, but the advantage from this helmet may well not translate across to the position and speeds that I'm riding out on this bike. So, to the tests. So, having tested both the time trial style helmets, let's find out the results from Matteo and hear his thoughts on why it's become common to see this style of helmet being more widely used and what some of the potential downsides are.
We went more in depth in the analysis of the TT helmets category, and I wanted to verify the first run because I was not happy by the expected results, since I saw a little bit too wide difference between the two TT products.
And that fell down to my position.
Yes, that was actually related to the position, because there is a very strong proportionality between what happens with change of position, and also again in the consideration of the unconventional situation, since the geometry of the bike is for sure not like a TT bike. You are missing one important part, the support of your arms. That is truly important, in particular way in the case of geometry, having a very wide body like the drone number 2, because that is even wider than the coda tronca. So in case you are not somehow protecting your shape with the arms that are somehow creating another part of the drop-like overall shape of your body in the direction of the airflow, that makes difference.
Because essentially we're trying to use a product that isn't really designed for this use.
It's absolutely not done for that.
Of course. Exactly. So okay, so run us through the differences then.
So in the end, we have about 2.2 watts difference as an advantage for the coda tronca against the drone.
Okay.
And the reason is in relation to the position you have on the bike. So, and the kind of bike, of course.
So overall, I think what this kind of has highlighted is that when we're seeing pro riders trying to use this kind of style of helmet, it's good in the optimal conditions, but that might only be for a very short period of time, maybe towards the end of a race or when they're doing a big pull on the front of the peloton. Whereas when you look at the overall picture, there's maybe a big proportion of the race when that helmet isn't optimal.
Yeah, of course. The wind tunnel need to be considered as a situation that is performing a test around a few minutes, of course. So that's important to catch the difference between some different geometries in helmets or some advantages in the garments. So then we need to translate into the, I would say, real road life. And of course, we need to take into consideration, in particular way, talking about gravel, the fact that that's not exactly the kind of project that is made for using TT product. Talking about TT races, actually there is an extreme effort in optimizing the position, but again, we are talking about races that are maybe 30, 40 kilometers. However, it's a very important point to be emphasized is the fact that we did a test at 50 km per hour now. Generally speaking, the average speed of a rider during a TT stage is 60 or even more.
So then we can expect these gaps to grow.
Yeah, because there is a proportionality between the power and the speed. It is a cubic proportionality. That's to say, changing only 10 km per hour by the speed, the effect on the power is magnified by the cubic proportion. So really saving 0.1 watt, 0.2, 0.3 watts is very important in a way of the higher speed is affecting on the final performance.
Perfect. Okay, so we now know the difference between the performance road helmets, but when it comes to the time trial style helmets, there is still a noticeable reduction in aerodynamic drag. The coda tronca was the fastest for me, requiring 423.7 watts, some 13.9 watts faster than the Manta. The latest Drone 2 helmet required 425.8 watts, which is actually 2.1 watts slower than the coda tronca. Now these differences will be as a direct result from my body position not being optimized to make the most from the Drone 2 helmet. Now while these differences might not seem significant to you, in the world of pro racing at higher speeds, it could easily be the difference between finishing first or fourth. There are other differences like cooling and practicality to consider too, which is why I really hope time trial helmets in road races will never become the norm. Well, there you go. The differences were smaller than I expected, but in the world of pro racing, performance will, and always should, top trump over style. However, what I do want to point out is that if we were to start seeing all riders starting to use this time trial style of helmet in road races, well, the performance advantage would be negated, and all of a sudden everyone is back on level playing terms, apart from the fact they're then just riding around in kind of crazy looking helmets, which I think would be a bad thing. But what do you think? Well, let me know in the comments section down below. Please do get involved and share your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, well, give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to help support our channel, well, subscribe to GCN Tech and turn on your notifications. See you later.